Hey everybody, welcome back to Dad Does Videos. Today we are going to be making planter post lights, and what I mean by that is that we are going to use these resin buckets to put a big post in and then put them in each of the four corners of our patio, and then have string lights go in between them. What you can do, I chose the resin buckets at Home Depot. These were like 20 bucks a piece. They stand up pretty well to wear and tear over time. You could certainly choose the more traditional wooden barrel buckets, but you know, they're more expensive. They're double the cost, and the challenge with those is they kind of wear and tear a little bit more over time. So we're going to see what kind of luck we have with these. The downside of these to get started is the big post that you're going to put in the middle. There's nothing to screw it into. You can screw it into the bottom of this, but it's just resin, and it's pretty thin, as you can see here. This is the thickness of it, and it goes on the bottom as well. So what I thought I would do is put in the bottom in the middle, just glue in some old scrap 2x4. As you can see, I already started to put these in all of these, and I'm just going to use some Gorilla Glue to just glue these to the bottom. It will create a pretty strong base, at least strong enough for me to then screw in the posts on top of each one, which I'll show you how to do, and then we'll have a nice level post, and then we can put cement around those. So let me glue these on. Okay, so we've got our 2x4 in there. We've got our big post right here. It's 8 foot high. You can get these at any Home Depot or Lowe's. And what I picked up while I was there were these brackets. So what we're going to do is put one of these brackets on each side of the post. Okay, so we've got these little brackets in, as you can see. You'll still need someone to hold it, because it might be a little bit wobbly because this post is so heavy, but this gives it a little bit of structure and stability. So what we're gonna do now is put the concrete in. Okay, so if you're wondering, here's the Quikrete bag that we use. This is the fast setting concrete. It's supposed to harden in 20 to 40 minutes, so we'll see if that happens. But here's what our post looks like. As you can see, I put some scrap wood around the post to hold it in place after we leveled it, and you can see inside there's the concrete in there hardening up. So we'll give this a little bit of time and come back and check on it. You can see how it's still wet right there. We're back about 40 minutes later, and this is hard. Pretty crazy. So that estimate that Quikrete gives is right on. Just remember to put a gallon in for the 2 bags that you put in. And I don't know if you can tell, but the concrete's about half full, or the barrel is about half full of concrete. So you put 2 bags in, you put about a gallon of water in, mix it up, and you're good to go. Just make sure that post is level. Okay, so we've got our 4 posts all set up for some painting. There's one here, there's one there, one there, and then one you can kind of see it behind the patio heat lamp. So I would suggest, before you get started, to just wipe these down with a little rag. I don't know if you can see on here, but these get a little bit kind of dusty from laying around at Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever lumber yard you got them at. So I would just wipe them down real fast. And then we are going to use this Thompson's water seal stain and sealer, just because we used it for everything else out here, so it'll just blend in. So I would just pick whatever your favorite stain and sealer is, and whatever brand, and put a coat on and call it a day. Okay, so we've got our 4 posts all painted. They turned out pretty nicely. Next step is, you can choose to do this if you want, but eventually we are going to put some flowers in here, and we want the water to drain. So I'm just going to drill, I don't know, 4 or so holes, probably 1 on each side of the circle here, pretty close to where the cement is, just because I want the water to drain. It's not healthy for flowers to just have that stagnant water in there. So we're just gonna do that for each of these planters. Okay, next step in the process is you want to get yourself some kind of stones. I prefer these from the Home Depot. And what you're gonna do is just fill in your pots, maybe a couple inches, with your stones. And what those do is provide some good drainage for the water that's going to go in there for your plants. Okay, so once you've got your stones in there, and this is what mine looks like, you're going to start to put in some plant or flower topsoil from your favorite local gardening place, just to provide kind of a base for all the beautiful flowers you're going to plant. So now we're ready to plant. As you can see, got a pretty good amount of soil in there. Got a couple inches still around the top. But now we're going to put our plants in and water them, and hopefully they stay alive. Okay, so check out our mix of flowers here. We got these just in, and they've been in for a few days now. We thought we'd go with a little mix of color and a little bit of white and kind of mix things up, and we've got these in the other ones too. Next step, after you've gotten all your flowers set up and ready to go, is to put the hooks in. And I got these from Lowe's, and what I like about these is there's a little flap on top of it. So once you get your wire in here, your wire can't like fly up over the top of the hook. Maybe it gets a little windy or whatever happens. I think that might be a nice choice to go with. So what I'm going to do next is just put these in the tops of all of our posts, so we'll have a way to hang the string lights. Okay, so we've got all our hooks up, and I'll just show you this one as just a quick pictorial here. And these, typically you can just screw them in by hand, but it's a little easier if you have a drill. Just use the relevant size drill bit and drill a hole beforehand, and then it's so much easier to just stick the hook in and screw that way. Okay, so the next step is to start stringing our lights. I got 2 packages of these. These are 30-foot long LED lights from a company called Ribozen. I'll put the link in the description of the video in case you'd like to see it or order it too. But what we're gonna do is start to hang these up, and I'm gonna hang them without the bulbs in them because I'm worried that they might break or something like that. So I just want to get kind of situated with where my sockets are going to be all the way around the porch, and then I'll give you a shot to see what that looks like, and then we'll start to screw the bulbs in. Okay, so we have our cord up going all the way around the porch. A couple tips as I process through this. One is that whatever C hooks you get, and those are the things that we screwed in to the posts, sorry about that, at the beginning, to make sure to attach the cord to it. Make sure they're not too wide, so that you can see each of these, if you buy this type there you go, cord, they have the little holes, and that's what you would hang on the hook. Make sure your hook isn't too wide so the hole doesn't fit over top of it. Another thing is, so you can see, I got a pretty good length. These are 2 30-foot ropes, like I mentioned before, but I had to still play around with the placement of my planters just to make sure the cords went around the entire patio. So just another thought there. And I think when they tell you how long these are, they take into consideration like the 2 feet here that go from the last light to the cord. So that's significantly, that's a significant measure when you're trying to plan out your placement of these around your deck and trying to measure. So just a couple ideas. Now that we have our cord up all the way around, we are just going to get these little LED lights that came with this and put them in each of the sockets. Okay, so we have all of our light bulbs in. No special tips or anything tricky about those, just screw them in. The next thing we're going to do is plug our extension cord into our plug that's coming off the string of LED lights and run that to the power box. I did get this outdoor wireless remote because I want to be able to just turn these things on and off when I feel like it, or program it for 2 hours or 4 hours or whatever I feel like doing. So we're gonna install that too. But first we're just gonna plug the extension cord in just to see if these things work, and I'll give you a shot of that. Okay, so I've got my outdoor wireless remote control hooked up too. It was actually really easy to install. You just plug it in and it's already paired with the remote. So it's off right now, but if I want to turn things on, watch my lights as I hit the on button, on. And then if I want them off, turn them off. And the nice thing about this is you could set it for, as you can see here, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6, 8. You could set it for a dusk to dawn, to go on at dusk and come off at 4, 6, 8 hours later. Okay, so what we want to do now is kind of finish the look here and hang some flower pot holders off of the posts. So whatever style you get, just make sure they are wide enough to support whatever width of flower pot that you want. You don't want your flower pot to be banging up against your post. So we're just going to use our drill and with the drill bit, probably hang these maybe I don't know, 10 inches or so down off of the post here, and hang our flower pots, see what they look like. Okay, so we screwed in our holders and got our plants up. And I'm happy with them. They look really nice. Okay, and here's a view at dusk. Looks pretty good. The complete view with lights and hanging baskets.